state law requires it, says I think it's 30 feet from the corner.
No.
That's what it's supposed to be. Yes. So the state law says that it should be approximately 30 feet. We could narrow it out. So it's up to, I think, 30 feet. It is approximately, some of them are 30 feet.
And also the other thing that might be helpful when, in case that you decide to reduce that particular footage from the no park here to corner, if they can put a stop sign like on Union Avenue, like in 3rd and 6th, because sometimes when kids go to school, it's very difficult for them to go, safely, and they cannot see incoming traffic, so they're going fast.
I think one example would be to utilize that parking lot in a very efficient way, and that is to have meter parking. Because if you drive by there anytime during the day, half the parking is empty and no one can use it. So I think if you put meter parking for 2-hour max kind of thing, it will help the businesses there, have the use of people who are driving them to buy stuff.
Okay, so then let's talk about what are some of the positive characteristics of the neighborhood. What is it that you guys love about the West End that make this neighborhood great?
I love that it's really like a small city within a neighborhood. It's a walking neighborhood. You can walk to get your hair done. You can walk to the bank. You can walk to the laundry. We walk down to Pella, to the post office.
The walkability.
Yeah, the walkability is really a great characteristic of the neighborhood.
So preserving the city within the city.
Preserving that, not making it so.
Positive, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the restaurants. And the bakery.
Yes, just with the stop signs, like they are saying, because we are very concerned about the crossing city. It's good.
So Kenneth, how about, this is getting to the physical aspect, because a lot of CDBG funding goes towards infrastructure. How is the sidewalks? Do you feel comfortable walking on them? Are they wide enough? Are they safe enough?
I had the opportunity to walk Union Avenue this summer from one side, going all the way up to Warren and back up to 8th Street. What I noticed were a lot of trees are missing, and where there were trees, there are I'm going to call them the cutouts. The grids are not on them. The grids are supposed to be there. On some of them, the black grids are there. On some of them, they're not. And we reported it to the city manager this week, but it seemed that it could be potentially hazardous for people who are walking, elderly people or young kids, because there are little holes. There was wood cut out, little gapes in it. So I think that needs to be addressed. And the tree, we need our trees. We need our trees planted. I know they have been planted, but we need more trees, and we need to look at those cutouts.
Some part of the sidewalk is terrible. Really, yeah. It's terrible. Nobody can see anything.
It's been like that since I was a kid. I was born up there. So it's so bad, they told me there has to be a tree in front of the house. The sidewalk's been able to pull down the curb, it's snipping out. You back in, you're going to get a tire cut. I have to put a curb in too. Well, that's my problem. Then I went there last week. They told me to come to this meeting. What's it going to do for me? And even my tenants, they said, look at the sidewalk, because I got the guy showing the sidewalk all the time. He said, I can't even show him the sidewalk. It's so bad.
And another thing is, I noticed, 7th Street, on 7th Street Avenue, here, they just paved the street a year ago or 2 years ago, and it keeps raising the street. So the drain that came from the houses, they're below the street level already. I mean, how can the water flow to the street if it's below already the street level? Keep putting close to the blacktop and the street will raise to keep staying at the. And there's no curb at all.
There's no curb.
Because you're raising the blacktop.
I mean, there used to be curbs,
But they keep building up.
You put keep one foot after the other,
When
and
they
end up
came-
without curb.
Like saying, when they put the gas stations, they chop up the sidewalk, they go on the sidewalk with the machine, it's heavy, and they crack the rest of it, they leave, and they just do two steps. That's the way you do a job around here. The city should go around sending guys, they pay them for this, inspect these guys. They get away with a lot. The job is not, I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to be
drive
sorry.
down the street,
Right here.
you're hitting holes that the street was just done. The sewer drain is lower than the road. You never seen that years ago around here.
About the one that you have, I have the same problem with the building. The water is running from the pipe. After it's
Drainage is not.
Sometimes I want to be in my house because it's very good to the sidewalk. And there's nobody in the family.
Drainage is.
People like this, not workers.
One thing to consider is that on Union Avenue, you have a very congested area where you have kids walking to this school or going to the middle school at any time during the day. I think there's a lot of cars, there's a lot of speeding, a lot of traffic. One of the considerations should be to put speed bumps in some appropriate areas to kind of just, stop signs run through the trip. I think we need to put that physical barriers that will slow down something like 20 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, like they have in places in Pelham and surrounding communities. I don't think we have any speed bumps in Rochelle, but I think we should have in this community because we have a lot of kids, since there are no playground opportunities for children, they'll go play in the street in the summer. So you don't want to have to deal with an unfortunate situation.
Especially around school. The cars, they don't see stop sign. They don't see me sometimes with stop sign also. I think it would be better, good idea, they have the bumps like this says, by the school. It's really, they come fast. If they see cop is standing by the front of the school, oh well, everything's fine. But the cop is not there with the uniform, they just go, they stop. There's people here that are close. I have to be careful. 2 weeks ago, almost got hit by me and 4 kids. Okay? And right away, one of my eyes saw I pushed back. Luckily, one of the parents took the plate and reported the Sergeant Joseph. It's terrible, really terrible. Come in the morning or the afternoon when they come out. The same thing about the sidewalk, right? Bedo Place. I've been there for 46 years. Never done on sidewalk.
Where is it?
Bedo. It's by the South Shore. Okay. The same thing Union Avenue. They did the sidewalk until half of my driveway and the rest are left like that.
Okay, this is another thing we wanted to find out, getting around the neighborhood beyond the sidewalk. Do you feel very connected to the rest of the city? Do you find it easy to get from place to place? We're not only just looking for what issues are, we're trying to find out what's working as well. So accessibility is fine and one.
Yes.
Same thing with mobility, like getting around this neighborhood, you told me already, it's very walkable, very easy to sort of make your way around.
It's not, it's very walkable, it's drivable, it's not bikeable at all.
We talked about this, but does anybody else want to add anything?
I think they should get rid of community parks on site for them. Alternate site, I think that will leave you. We have a lot of people, we have multiple family dwellings here, 2, 3 family dwellings, people have 3 or 4 cars. There's not enough parking space. When we have to move cars on Monday and Tuesday in this neighborhood, it's very difficult to find parking spots. I think, there's really no point. The sweeping is meaningless. I think there's no point of having alternate side street parking. The sweeper comes around or whatever, and it really doesn't look any better, and it really doesn't create a positive impact necessarily. So whereas people who come at night,
Do you disagree?
No,
I
I
disagree.
disagree.
I
I
like
like Sweet Beans.
Disagree?
I don't like to have to find a spot, but I
You
like.
like the street.
I like to.
The only observation that I have for the alternate parking is that in December, in November, the sweeper doesn't come by at all. So I think for no, Union Avenue really doesn't get to lift pick up because there's not that many trees to begin with along the Union Avenue corridor, and they they have the regulations that the sweeper doesn't come by. But the cop does come and give tickets, so I think it should be eliminated in order for us to be a little more
I mean,
peaceful in
when
this
the sweeper
area.
come around, they should issue tickets. That's all. If the sweeper doesn't come, like this time, for a month or maybe more already, the sweeper doesn't come, why do they keep giving tickets?
I was looking at my emails last week in anticipation of Lou's meeting, and I noticed that I had written you, and then I think you sent it over to Noam's office about the snow. That we seem to have been the last community to get dug out, and because of the parking problem on top, it looked like Siberia, okay, for a long time. And I don't know if it would have helped if they had alternate side, to get that snow out. But it was very bad. It was also very bad at the intersections near Columbus School. I saw, people, parents trying to pick their kids up over things. It was very, very bad. So, in a congested space, I think we as a city need to especially look at that. I live in a more residential area in New Rochelle, and I don't think about that. The snow thing comes through, and there's no cars that are intercepting it. It's a whole different thing, and I think you would make a lot of headway and a lot of good wishes if you really, it's not good. It's not good.
Just want to point out something with respect to that and also the prior issue. A lot of what we end up wrestling with, and what we may have to wrestle with in the plan, is trade-offs. The issue of alternate side versus street sweeping. That's a trade-off.
Right.
You may enhance parking at the expense of less cleanliness or vice versa. And the city, frankly, would look to the residents and neighborhood itself to provide us guidance on which of those values are more important to you. It's similar with snow removal. The problem is, as you all know, we have many narrow roads. In many cases, parking is permitted on both sides of the road. And so the plows initially have a great deal of difficulty getting through and clearing curb to curb as they might at some other locations. Then the snow gets, of course, pushed onto the cars, and as people come and dig themselves out, the snow goes right back into the road. So a plow may have come through, and yet an hour later it may look as though it was never there. One of the traffic studies that was referenced at the beginning actually entertained the idea of making Union and Washington each one way in different directions. That would have permitted more space for plows to get through, and would also have increased the number of parking spaces that would be available, because there would have been some slant parking. But there would have been a big inconvenience in terms of how people can get around. So that's another trade-off to think about. There might be a sacrifice in terms of traffic mobility in exchange for other things that you may or may not think are more important. Just want to encourage you to sort of think in those terms. What's most important to me? What's less important?
And we'll do that at the last meeting when we have everything.